Hey, friends, and welcome to the Level Up podcast. My name is Taylor Petrinovich, and I am joined by my co host, Kelley Gilster.
Hi, everyone. So glad you're here with us.
And we have a really great conversation today with Katie of Intertwined Events. She's an amazing wedding planner based in Orange County, and we can't wait to share our conversation with you. But first, Kelley, how are you doing today?
I am great. We actually came off of a nice little break. We had actually no weddings in June, which is wild because for 2024, we already have three weddings in June. I think we only have like one wedding or one weekend not booked with a wedding. So that was actually really nice. I'm catching up on some editing from earlier this spring, going through and just like updating my portfolio with some really good ones that we had that's this spring. And next week we are going to go on vacation. We actually do an annual family trip to Montana. And it's something that Paul has done with his family for 30 plus years. And then when we got married, I joined in the tradition. And it's just honestly such a great way to escape in the midst of wedding season. It's a little bit hard to step away, but I think it's important to just really identify when you need to have some little rest and recharging, and so we always make it a priority. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, that's so great. Well, I just got off of two like back-to-back weekends of pretty large events in Tahoe. They were both like multi-day events. One weekend was on the north side of Tahoe and one was on the south side. And if you're familiar with the Tahoe area, it's like a really large lake. So like you actually take two different freeways to get to like either side from where I'm based. I actually live like outside of Sacramento. So yeah, they were amazing. Worked with some really great teams. Got to do some like droning off of a boat on Lake Tahoe. That was really cool. And then this past weekend, like 3 days ago, worked with just like a stellar team. I got to work with Rebecca Yale for the first time, which was really, really nice. She's a really talented photographer. And yeah, I'm excited. Actually, that's an NDA wedding, but I just got the green light to share some of the details from that. So I'll probably be posting on Instagram soon. And I see Micah. Hello. This is Kelly's son
It's
if you're watching on YouTube.
I am dying right now. Sorry, our kids just got back from childcare, and if you're watching on YouTube, this is my son, Micah. Micah, do you want to say hello? Hello. All right.
So cute.
We'll get into the episode. Um, we also have a YouTube channel, and you get to see like real life things that occur every once in a while.
Yeah, we're all about real life. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, we are both moms of multiple children. Between us, we have 5 kids. So, really balancing work and life, especially while working from home over summer break. School's not in session. So, it's just slightly chaotic, but it's okay. We embrace the chaos. Just last thing to note, we are on our third week of Mastermind. And so, if you're listening to this and you're a Mastermind student of ours, thank you for coming along for the journey. We're really, really enjoying meeting with you every single week. And if you're someone who may be interested in hopping in our next group when we launch again, I highly suggest hopping on the wait list. It did fill up pretty fast when we launched this first round. So if you want to hop on the wait list, the link will be in the show notes. But I also believe it's levelupco.com/course-waitlist. Maybe I should consolidate that link to be not so clunky. But we're just having such a great time. We're talking about social media this week, and so many of our students are already going through like huge rebrands, and we are just really, really cheering our students on. We know that amazing things are in store for them. But we're not going to keep you much longer with this intro. So enjoy this interview with Katie of Intertwined Events. This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help filmmakers level up their businesses and their craft so they can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. All right. Well, Katie, we are so excited to have you on this week's episode.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Katie, I've known you for a long time. We're also friends. Our kids are friends. But one of the things that has really just amazed me over the years, 10 plus years that I have known you, is how you have built this incredible team. Like, I don't think every planner really can say that they have like an incredible team in their back pocket, and you guys definitely do.
Yeah. We are very lucky. It started out just Megan and I, but now we have a team of 18 full-time employees here. And they are the reason that we are successful and do what we do. So I am very grateful for all of them who work their butts off every day.
Oh my gosh. So it's 2023. You have a full staff of 18 people. But let's rewind the clock. Like, where did this all start? When did you plan your first wedding? How did you get into this? Like, we'd love to know.
I love a good starter story. So we all started, or Megan and I started together from the get-go. So we were volunteering at a camp for kids and adults with special needs. We both had degrees in event planning, and we were asked to take over that camp. And we realized that we really liked working together. I was working in corporate America doing big time corporate events. Megan was working for the city of Anaheim doing a lot of huge city productions. And we just decided, like, hey, maybe we could work together, make some money, and also be able to do camp at the same time. So we both were working our full-time jobs. Really sorry, American Express, for that, while also starting our own company. And then eventually, a recession happened at that point. It was 2008 at the time. Megan unfortunately was let go from her job, and we decided we could only go up from here. So Megan started working full time in the business. I took a little bit more time because I was working from home still. And then eventually both of us started together. We worked off of our floors of our apartment, just pretending that we had a bigger company. I would literally answer the phone as Megan's assistant, and she would do the same for mine. We always tried to be bigger than we were. And eventually, slowly but surely, just started building our team and building our portfolio. But my first wedding was definitely off of Craigslist for $300. And it was, I look back at it now and just die thinking that that's where we started. But I love where we came.
I don't think you've ever shared that story with me. Like, I'm loving, like, the fake it till you make it is so key. The fact that you guys were answering the phone as each other's assistant is brilliant.
Oh yes, that was something we did for a long time, not gonna lie. But yeah, in our first, our employee literally was coming to my house and working in my little spare bedroom. I had one of those desks back in the days that had like a back and a front to it, and I split it apart so it looked like two desks. So she always felt like she had her own desk in her house. And we use that phrase all the time, fake it till you make it. And I feel like it's a huge part of our story.
That's so cool. And so you started off doing events in the corporate space. So did you always know that Intertwined Events was going to be weddings and corporate commercial? Like, or did you start off in weddings thinking
No,
you would? Okay.
I was gung ho, no weddings, like adamant that we were not going to do weddings. And like I said, that's when the recession started. And so we had been in the corporate world. That's what we thought we were going to do. And then everyone canceled their events. And so there was literally no corporate business to be found. So we kind of ended up falling into weddings. And then I ended up falling in love with it. I can't say that Megan has found the love of it. She still stays in her lane in the corporate world, but we have a lot more business in the corporate world now. And then I stay on the social side, mostly doing weddings with a few corporate events dabbled in there here and there.
Cool. So what do you love about weddings? I'm like excited to hear.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Actually, the answer changes every day. I think the thing that I love the most is that every day is different. I never know what I'm walking into or what's gonna come that day. There are so many emotions involved and so many different personalities, and so I love that it keeps me on my toes. Like I always say, like, I'm an event planner, that's my job title, but I'm actually a therapist and a firefighter and a problem solver that happens to do events. So it's really exciting to just never know what your day is going to look like.
Yeah, I love that. So our listenership is like predominantly filmmakers, some photographers, but we actually do have some planners who listen in too. But what I love about bringing on guests who like are not filmmakers or photographers is like learning your side of the wedding world, because so many of us are so like into our art and like the product that we're creating and stuff that we really don't know what goes on behind the scenes for a wedding planner. Like I would never know that you had 18 full-time employees. I feel like that's such a huge responsibility. I can't even fathom that. Like I don't feel like very many filmmakers have a good understanding. So I would just love to learn like a little bit about your like day to day. Like what does that look like? What role are you playing in your clients' events? And then like how does that team like take on their tasks too? Sorry, that was like so many questions all at once.
So many questions. No, I totally get that. So that's something that, you know, my role has evolved a lot as we've grown. I mean, we started with just Megan and I, and then there was a long time when there was just 5 of us. And then COVID actually changed everything for us. So when COVID started, we only had 9 employees. And at that time, which still is a lot, not to be taking that down at all, but when COVID happened, we like really had to kind of think about how we were doing things. Like the event side of our world completely stopped. But we also have a social media management company, and that side boomed because all the corporations that we were working with, they figured out that the only way to talk to people was on social media because everyone was at home. And so us event planners had to put on social media hats, and we were doing strat follows for our team and commenting and liking and helping on that side of the business while canceling events left and right on that other side. So took a lot of, I stopped doing events completely at that point and just managed the business and made sure that people still were getting paid and that we could still make sure they had food on their tables. I mean, that's my role at Intertwined, is to make sure that all these team members always have money to take home. And like it's not a responsibility that I take lightly, because I never want there to be a day or a time where like we have to let anyone go because we can't afford it. It's a huge responsibility to employ 18 people that have families and all that. So that's like a constant stress on Megan and I's plate and lives. So that's something that we really took into consideration during COVID, is like figuring out how to keep them all employed. Then once COVID came back or ended, and then we came back to the industry, we hit the ground running, and that's when we started building our team back up, and that's how we got to the 18. So the last 2 years have been crazy. You all know, like we worked our tails off for 2 years to get back to where we were. And to be fair, we couldn't manage the inside of the business because we were all just struggling to survive. And so this year is the first year that I feel like we actually are looking and working on the business again and thinking big picture, like going through a rebrand is what we're doing right now, which is something that we haven't done in years because we just haven't had the bandwidth. Trying to get like internal training programs in place, working on company culture and camaraderie, like all the things that make this place work is what I'm focused on now, and not as much as like the day-to-day events, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so true. And yeah, the rebrand that you guys are working on, I've kind of seen like some bits and pieces, and it's so great. And I love that this does seem to be the year where people in their business can actually breathe and take like step back and be like, okay, what's serving me? Where do I want to go next? Like the growth mindset is coming back rather than just like the scarcity,
Survival.
like survival. Like it's just, yeah, we've been in survival mode for like, or I've kind of said like, I feel like I was in fight or flight for like 3 straight years. And now it's like, okay, how's our portfolio looking? How's our website looking? Like, let's go through another rebrand. Yeah, when we did our website last year, we hadn't done a new website in 8 years.
Yeah, like we're 7 right now. So that's about the same. And I don't know about you, but on Instagram, I'm constantly seeing everyone's rebranding. Like it's a big thing right now.
Yeah. And the industry, I mean, we're in such like a fast-paced industry. Things change, trends change, designs change. Like, so it's very common, like for any of those listening, like it's going to be really common for you as you're leveling up your business to meet the clients where they're at, the clients that you want, so that you're speaking to them directly. So like the website that you had 3 years ago probably doesn't speak to the client that you have now. Like, we just had Garrett Richardson on the podcast, and he talked about that specifically, how he's going through a rebrand. He just did his website 3 years ago, but that's not really the client that he's not really speaking to the client that he wants anymore. And that's when he decided. And that's probably how you decided too, Katie, to like do that rebrand.
Yeah. I mean, 3 years ago, what we were selling at, the type of service that we were providing, completely different than what we are right now. Like, things have changed drastically. So I look at our website now, I'm like, no wonder there's so much confusion about like the size of our company and what we're doing and the market that we're serving, because the weddings on there are so different than what we're doing today. So yeah, we need a complete refresh.
Actually, that's like the perfect segue. I would love to know what services you do provide. Like, we had Heather Hosch on the podcast like several episodes ago, and she got a little bit into like defining like different levels of service that planners offer. But I think we could probably like get more clarification and dig a little deeper into that. So I would love to know, like, from you, the levels of service, like from coordinator to full service planner and everything in between, and like what do planners charge? I don't know, what's normal. If you're like, if you can talk about pricing a little bit.
Yeah. So great questions. So I think there's a couple answers to that. So we do 3 different planning packages. Now, everything we say can be customized because the luxury client doesn't want what everyone else has. They want what they want, and they want it to be custom to them. So I would say we have 3 like categories, but we always customize it based on who we're talking to. So bare bones minimum, we call it wedding management. Some people call it coordination or month of, or my least favorite word, day of. But it's more of wedding management. Like, you as the client are planning the wedding, and then we're going to come on site and manage it for you. So we usually get involved like 3 months prior. We go through all their contracts, put out any fires that they've planned on their own, and then we'll actually execute on it. So that is our a common package, but not something that we do as frequently anymore. We have our partial planning package, which is for someone who more wants to do a lot of it on their own, but they still need guidance. Like, they want the ability to call and say, I'm stuck, or I'm having this idea, like, what do you think? So I call it more of like virtual planning or consulting, because we're not meeting with them as much in person, but we're there the whole process. So we're like guiding them along the way. And then there's, of course, full service. And so for us, we do full service planning and design. So if you see any wedding that you see on our Instagram or our website, we have talked about everything that you're seeing, like the type of flower, the container, all the rentals, the color of the lighting, like what paper they're using. Anything and everything the guest is going to see or experience, I want my hand on it, because I want it to be consistent and cohesive. And so we always talk about like creating a brand, again, going back to branding, a brand for the client. So like the bride and the groom have a brand, and I want that reflected from the time the save the date is in a hand until they're in their car leaving valet. That whole experience should be customized. So that's what we do, and we're very hands-on with that. It's very high level. It is for the luxury market. Most of our clients in that bucket have a budget anywhere from $250,000 up for their wedding. And then partial and month of are for people who don't have as much budget or don't have as much need for design, but still want the help of a professional to guide them along the way.
Nice. I love what you said about like each couple has their own brand. That makes so much sense. And like Taylor and I are big on, like, right now we have a mastermind program going, and we are like in the thick of branding with our students and just trying to like really get themselves to think outside of like, you are a brand, like your personal, like what you show up in on a wedding day, that reflects your brand. Like who your second shooter is, like they need to reflect your brand. Like luxury is consistency, and the fact that you, like Katie, are developing like consistency throughout a wedding day and even before the wedding day with the save the date is like so on brand for like a high wealth client that you're working with.
Yeah. And they want something that's totally unique to them, that's not going to look like something else on Pinterest. Like it could be inspired by that, but we're not in the business to replicate anything, because a luxury client doesn't want that. They want new and never before seen and something that's totally unique to them.
Yeah, we love to
Yeah.
say that like luxury planners and designers are like the tastemakers of the industry. Like they're the ones coming up with the ideas that then trickle down through the market. Where in 10 years you'll see like budget clients like kind of mimicking these designs. So it's so fun to see where it
Yes.
begins at the very top. And I don't have a design brain, so the entire like idea of like coming up with like new and fresh ideas is so like interesting to me, and I would love to just like I wish I could like peek inside like a designer's brain and like see what's going on in there because it's
You
just
probably don't want to come in here.
crazy. No. It might be a little much.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm in another group too that's talking to the luxury market for planners and how we're talking to clients. And the planner leading the charge on this actually refers to herself as an executive producer. And I thought that that's really interesting because if you think about it, like for these big weddings, we are creating sets. Like they're not just a ballroom, we're going in there, we are building something fresh and we are coordinating and producing every element of that day. So it's quite interesting, like the different or titles that people give us. But I loved that one because I'm like, it's so true. Like we're talking about entertainment, about the photo video team, the overall design or the set of it, and then moving all the people. It's definitely a huge production.
Yeah. A while back, you made mention of creating just a really great culture for your team, and you have literally done that so well. Like, I can't think of any other team, rather than maybe like a planning company, like takes their girls to brunch or whatever. Like, I love one of the things that you guys do that I love is you guys have like challenges in the office.
Yes.
So, what are some of those? I'd love to like for the listeners to hear.
Yes. So it's funny because all the girls on the other side of my desk right now are all in their workout clothes because they just finished with the mobile gym that we have come. But there's always something happening here, and we try to do a lot of team bonding together. So I think Kelley, you're referring to our physical challenge that we just had. So one of the girls' husbands owns a mobile gym, and so we've paid for him to come twice a week so the girls can work out, and it's just a nice way of like we're sitting in the office all day grinding, but like you could take 45 minutes and go take care of yourself real fast and then come back. So we like Megan and I like to say that everything in life is a competition. So we created an internal competition amongst the team. My team got their butts kicked, so I don't want to talk about that competition per se. But we always try to do something in here where we're creating teams within the team. So like I said, we have the social media company, we have Intertwined Events, and then we have Rad Camp, which is our nonprofit. So it's technically like 3 different divisions that all work under the same roof. So I wouldn't say that like the event girls are working side by side with the Rad Camp team as much. So stuff like this, we blend them together and put them on teams that they aren't working with every day so that they can create different relationships and kind of try to avoid the clickiness that sometimes could be with 18 girls, or I like to call it our small sorority that we have here. So we do a lot together and separate amongst the groups too.
That's so smart. Like, that's why I feel like you have just like such loyalty from your team, is because like you take care of them. Like the fact that you have like a mobile gym come to the office so that people can get in that work to like work on themselves, like that's huge. Like you really do take care of like each and every person that works there. So you should be so proud. And like it's noticed. Like I definitely notice.
I mean, we've had a team now. Intertwine's going to be 15 at the end of the year, which is really exciting. And we have had many people come through our doors, but the team that we have right now is the best team we've ever had. Like every girl just grinds, and they are those kind of girls that if you're sitting there working on something and they have time, they're coming over right away and asking what you could do to help. So I would be happy to provide whatever they need because they are literally the best and they help this place function. So we would be lost without all of them.
Yeah,
so I'm just meeting you. So this whole idea of like the challenges is like so new to me, and I love that. But one thing, I've been watching you from afar for a while, and something I've actually noticed about you and your team is that like you empower them to have their own like social media presences like under the Intertwined umbrella, which I think is so cool. Like you're not like hoarding like the like pats on the back, you know what I mean? Like you're really empowering them to like have their own like mini brand almost. Like I would love to like just learn more about that and what that is doing for your business and then your employees too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think about that, but yes, we do. Every girl has their own intertwined handle that they can do. And to me, it was actually for our clients because one thing that I like about us, and I hope this is viewed from the outside too, is we are doing the luxury market, but we are approachable. We're not stuffy. We are very fun. And we like to exude that. And so I want our clients to see us for who we are as people. Like, I think it's fun when the client can see me with my kids or my French bulldog, or that I run marathons or whatever it is that I'm doing, because maybe then they can relate and be like, oh, I love running too. Like, we would get along really well. And then that'll help them to be able to connect with me and trust me. And same with all the other girls. If they find something that they're like, oh, Mia always works out and she loves coffee, like, they're going to want to talk to her. So it's more of a way for us to just be relatable to our clients and our vendors out there that are like the reason we're good at what we do too, so that they can know us as people and not just a name or a brand.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, so for those listening, so Intertwined Events has like their large Instagram account, which is at Intertwined Events. And then each of the girls that works for Intertwined Events, so like Intertwined is Intertwined Katie, and then there's Intertwined Amy, Intertwined Kelsey, like all Mia, like all those people. And
Yeah.
and it's cool because like in Taylor and I's course, Luxury Filmmaker Framework, we talk about how it's important to think about, we call it the level up four. So think of four aspects of your life that you want to consistently show all the time. So Katie, you said like your family, your French bulldog, the fact that you like run and exercise, and like showing those on like a consistent basis. Like we always say, like posting in Instagram should be a mix of like 50% personal or 50% professional work, 25% personal, and 25% inspiration. I think that's like a really good blend for people to be actively putting out on their Instagram accounts. And so thinking about like your level up for those listening and what that would be, so that you are speaking to those ideal clients. Like Katie said, like if that client loves coffee and is like big into working out, like they may relate more with this planner that's going to be a really great fit for them because they have similar interests. Or if another planner loves like shopping and like bougie cocktails, like another client would be a really good fit for them too.
Yeah.
Sign me up for the bougie cocktails.
And this is like a so side note, but I would also say, like, if you are going to have employees and you're going to have them with their own handles, that there's rules around it, because it's still your brand. So you want to be really careful about like that they're not posting when they're, out drinking somewhere, or that everything that's on there is like good content, and then also having an agreement about what happens if they are to leave, because I've seen like there's been some other planners that had some of their team with handles that were theirs. Technically they got big followings, and then when they left they took that with them, and so all of a sudden they get a lot of leverage there. So we're really strict on like our social media policy and what that looks like in case God forbid they did leave us one day. There's a plan in place for that.
Well, this is such an amazing conversation, and it's actually going to bring us to our luxury insider tip of the day, brought to you by Wedding Post House, which is an amazing wedding video post-production company owned by Brady Huff of Huff Wedding Films. He's fabulous. But they handle all of your multicam syncing and culling, so they set all of the in and out points of your clips, and they'll get that back to you under a week. So it's so fast, it cuts down on your editing time, but you really get to retain the creative control of your edits, which so many of us as wedding filmmakers like really love to have when it comes to crafting the story for our clients. But this is a great way to save you time and therefore make more money. And Wedding Post House is able to do this within DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, and Adobe Premiere. So almost everyone is covered under this company, but they actually have a coupon code that they want to share with our listeners, and it is level up 10, all lowercase, and that's for 10% off of your edit with Wedding Post House. So Katie, do you have a luxury insider tip for the listeners today?
Sure. I think we were talking a little bit about branding and kind of like what our clients are thinking. I always feel like when one of the biggest things that we did when entering the luxury market was trying to get into the heads of our potential clients. So what are they wearing? What kind of car are they driving? What purse are they carrying? Which sounds so silly, but it's honestly how they relate to you right away. So I think about that as thinking of yourself as part of your brand and elevating who you are, especially when client facing. So even if you only have that one outfit that's like your go-to sales outfit, or the one thing that you want to do that really helps you to feel luxury, that's something that you should absolutely have when focusing on trying to get some of these new luxury clients.
Such a great tip. It's so true. We have been working with our mastermind students. We talk about this in our course too, about, identifying, creating that ideal client avatar. And when we did this last year, it was like, where does your person shop when they are shopping for a black tie event? Where do they shop when they're looking for workout clothes? Where do they shop when they're like doing their everyday? Like, it was so specific. And it does kind of feel silly, but it was so helpful as an exercise to do that, because you're not going to be able to reach that ideal client unless you know exactly who they are and what they do, like where they work, like per se, where they vacation, like what are the resorts they like to go to? Are they a one and only type of client, or are they a montage type of client? Like, you kind of have to recognize all of those things so that you're speaking to them appropriately.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I go so far as if like we're going to meet at a certain hotel, or if I know they always are going to a certain restaurant, I look up the menus. I try to familiarize myself so I can be like, have you tried the blah, blah, blah? Even if I've never tried it before, just pretending like you're, one of them and you are on the same scene as they are, then they can relate to you right away, which sounds so cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah. So, Katie, with your big rebrand, your amazing team of 18, looking at 2024, what are like your big goals for like the next year, the next 18 months?
Yeah, we have a lot of big goals. I think our biggest one that we haven't quite announced yet, but I'll give you the secret insider. I know, Kelley, we're going to look into opening an LA office soon. So opening our Orange County office, we had an office down the street pre-COVID. That was nice. It had room for us, but it didn't have that like luxury feeling. And as soon as COVID started ending, we wanted all the girls back, and we found a new office that was like 3 times the size of our old one, and really invested in making it a great place for clients to come and our team to come. And as much as it was scary to put all that money into it, and people thought we were crazy to get an office right after COVID when everyone was at home, it was one of the best things we ever did. And so we are looking now to expand more into LA. We do a lot in LA, but we want to have like an actual physical presence there. So that's on my radar, and what I'm actively working on is getting that office found and up and running, and hopefully just trying to target more LA in 2024. Can't wait to sit on the 405 all the time.
Oh my goodness. No, I think that's so great. And recognizing like where your business can grow in different and new locations. So like, I know that there are a good amount of planners too that have like a San Francisco office and an LA office, because as we know, California is so vast and huge, and the Northern California market is so different from the Southern California market. And so, yeah, even like LA and Orange County, or like San Diego and LA, so different.
So different. And the luxury client doesn't want to sit on the 405. They want to have it convenient, have you either come to them or have them come to somewhere that's really close to them. So there's a lot of great clients up in the LA area that we've lost because they don't want to sit on the freeway to come see us. So it sounds so silly. It's only 45 minutes to an hour or 3 hours, depending on traffic, but having a presence there will make a big difference.
Yeah. And luxury is all about convenience, consistency, convenience. Like, yeah, they really want to be like served on a silver platter, which is fine. Like, we're happy to do it. Like, that's like how we've aligned all of our brands.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I get that. Yeah. Happy to be served on a silver platter. I just need to be closer to them to do that.
I kind of want to dive a little bit to, a lot of the listeners, when you are dividing things up between design, production, and planning, like at the core, what are all those things? Like someone who's handling production, like in layman's terms, like what does that mean? Like what are your roles?
Yeah. If I'm handling production, I'm basically have my hands in everything. So I always talk about the experience from anything the guest is going to see, feel, hear, smell, like any of their senses are going to be used, then I want to be touching that so that we can have like control of what the overall experience is. So that's full production. If it's planning, I'm more of just like logistics, putting those into place, but not necessarily caring about the design of it. I would say in today's world with Pinterest and Instagram, to not have design is not something we hear a lot. It's people want their wedding designed. And then if you're coordinating or managing it, we're just taking on like the bare basics and making sure that it is successful and actually gets done. But we don't have any impact on like the overall design or the flow of it. We're pretty much executing on what the client wanted with guidance if there was some issues. But that comes so close to the wedding date that we don't have a lot of control or time to make big changes at that point when we step in.
Right. And for that level of client, like the design might be more up, like the florist might be doing that, right? A little bit of that.
Yeah. And I would say those are your more like approachable weddings where they are not focused on like the kind of paper or the texture of the linens or the right shade of white for the candles. Like it's still a beautiful wedding. It's just not high design, not getting stuck in the details.
Right. Yeah, we refer to that as like a mainstream wedding.
Yes,
like
I'm
they're
like,
probably
nice way to say that.
I guess mainstream. I feel like approachable sounds a lot nicer than mainstream. That's true, but like they're probably sourcing like their paper goods from Minted or like somewhere where it's like it's an attainable, approachable place where any and every person can like get there.
Yeah,
they're not working with a specialty.
Not for a checklist, for example, and getting a book from the store and planning it that way. Like that's kind of where I would look at those. It's not, I would say nothing over 75K would be something in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So hard because Orange County though is so different than some of the other industries that are around here. So for us, like 75K is not a huge budget, but to other states and places that still might be expensive.
Yeah, totally. And for those of you who are listening who are filmmakers and you're like, why are we talking about this? Like, can we talk about actually filming a wedding? Like, no, this is like actually really important to learn and to know. And like in our course, like Kelley and I talk a lot about like the importance of understanding the industry and how it functions and all the players and like really understanding like down to like knowing the difference between like a house like house provided linens or whatever and like a specialty thing or like a folding white chair versus like an upgraded chair. Like having an eye for this and like utilizing this information to your advantage like really makes a huge difference when it comes to leveling up your business and your portfolio, because when you are trying to work with these levels of planners, like this is their world and you have to fit into their world and understand so they have confidence that you can function at these high level events. So trust me, this is all like information that you do need to know. It's not like is superfluous. Like I don't know the actual definition, but like my brain wants to like say that. Does that make sense here? Anyway, so
I mean, and that's a good point too for like when we're thinking about videographers. Like if I'm working with someone who hasn't had a lot of experience in luxury or whose portfolio is not showing me that, I might get really worried and bring someone else in because I want to make sure that the details are captured, because that video is going to help me to get my next client. And so if the video or the photos or anything like that doesn't catch how detailed the wedding is, that's a huge miss for everyone that was working that wedding. So it's a really good point.
Yeah,
they need to hear it. It's
they do.
Really important.
Yeah, and it's so, our jobs as filmmakers, there's so much technicality in there. Like we get really bogged down by gear and different systems and processes, and all of those things are great, right? But that can only get you so far. Like, and the luxury client and those luxury planners like Katie, like they want to be sure that you are like well-rounded and well-versed in many facets of the industry, right? So you understand like the difference between, a designer wedding gown and like kind of something off the rack, or like they want you to care as much about these paper goods that they spent months or weeks over finding the perfect shade of blue, like sourcing those things. Like it really does matter. It's not like they were just like given a book to choose from and say that one. Like these are very highly curated pieces.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to give us just like a shameless little plug. This is the first time we are actually talking about this on the podcast. So if you're still listening, thank you. But we actually created an elevated shot list that is now available in our shop, thelevelupco.com/shop. You will find it there. But for those of you who your brain is just kind of like buzzing now, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I didn't know. Like this shot list really actually walks through a lot of like the details of the day that we do see a lot of filmmakers miss. Down to like how to like stage the cake, or to not shoot on the seam at the table, like things like this, things to look for and to elevate the scene through many vignettes throughout the wedding day, so that your portfolio is a little bit more polished. You're really making your planners and your clients happy, and we do think this is like a really great tool to keep in your back pocket on wedding days, to kind of like have to reference when you're shooting the spaces of a wedding day.
Yeah.
Love that.
What are overlooked, and what planners need. Yeah. Well, Katie, it has been such a joy to learn about your business. You are like so ever inspiring as a mom of 2 yourself, and a team of 18 kids over there too. No, no, they're like great.
It was good.
Honestly.
It was good.
Yeah. Such a great team. We actually have a wedding with Intertwined this coming weekend, and it's always great to work with a team who is going to just execute a great day. And so proud that you were able to come on and talk to our listeners about building a great brand and a great culture and all that.
Well, thank you for having me. I always love working with you. So excited that we have another Intertwined wedding this weekend. And hopefully Taylor will get out there with you soon too.
I hope so.
Love that.
Thank you for joining us in this conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us reach more filmmakers just like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it on social media. Don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.